I'm always active in the YouTube stratosphere. I'm paying attention to what's going on, and I'm seeing a lot of new creators blowing up. And with these new creators that are blowing up, there's three things in particular that I have just taken away from them that I feel they're implementing a lot better than other new creators. And ultimately, it might be the reason why you aren't growing as fast. The one thing about YouTube that I've always loved is that it's an abundance of information. Whatever you're looking for, you can search it up on YouTube and find it. However, the bad thing about it being an abundance of information is that it's a lot of different competing perspectives from different creators on the exact same topic. To break this down and make it a little bit more understanding for you, right? Just being a new creator, I'm sure you've watched tons of videos on YouTube and they all tell you different things. One person is going to tell you that you need to upload once a week. Another person is going to tell you should upload 2 to 3 times a week. And then you're going to see somebody who's uploading once every 3 months and they're absolutely killing it, getting tons of views. Now, the problem with this is that as a new creator, it's extremely overwhelming because it's like, who do I listen to, right? Most creators never start. They never hit that record button because they can't decide what to do. In reality, you just have to make a decision and start. Now, it doesn't matter if this decision is right or wrong, but you have to make a decision. A lot of people want to course correct before they've actually started going on a course. It's like you trying to steer a car, right? But the car's not moving. You know that does not work. You have to get the car in motion first for you to be able to steer and, get out of the way of obstacles and make sure you're on the right path that you're going. And in order for you to do that, you need feedback. You need experience of you just creating something. The natural path of anybody doing anything is that you're gonna try something, you're either gonna like it, or you're gonna hate it. And this right here is gonna be feedback that you need to be able to steer the car into the way that you want it to go. You're also gonna get feedback from the people who are watching your videos. I love this, I don't love this. I think you should do this better. I think you should do this a different way. You just gotta figure out for you what direction you're trying to go, the things that you love, the things that you hate, and also get in tune with your audience. But none of this can happen until you ultimately make the decision to start. Just make a decision. It doesn't matter what it is, just try something. If you've been on YouTube for long enough, one term that you've heard probably a million times is the term imposter syndrome. This is where you don't necessarily feel qualified to talk about the things that you are talking about. And I think one big reason that a lot of people feel imposter syndrome is because they're trying to approach their content from a perspective that isn't their own. We watch so much content online and we get super inspired by the people we watch. And in turn, it makes us subconsciously want to present the exact same information the exact same way, when in reality, we might not be qualified to do that. As an upcoming creator, one of the most important things that you should be doing is speaking about things that you're speaking about from your own perspective. I know that it's very appealing to approach this and make it look like you're an industry professional and you know what you're talking about every single time that you're on camera, because that's probably how the people that you watch present themselves. But in reality, that's not the way to do it. Your perspective is how you should be presenting every piece of content that comes from you. Point blank, period. You know why? Because this creates relatability. An example of this is, say you ask me about color grading in post, right? I color grade a lot, so I'm very familiar with nodes and I'm very familiar with masks and very familiar with vignettes and a bunch of different focusing tools that you can use to get your color grade to look a specific way, right? But if you're a person who's never color graded and I'm talking to you and I'm telling you, oh, just create 8 nodes and then on the 3rd node, create a mask for your skin and then feather it out and do all the stuff, you're probably gonna be like, bro, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. But if you're a beginner and you go on YouTube and you search for how to color grade for beginners, you will probably want to hear this from another beginner because they're going to be able to present the information in a way that is relatable to you, something that you understand. And this is why it's so important to approach your content from this perspective that you are currently in. You don't have to be an industry professional. It's different levels of everything. And every level is very important. It's important to have content for beginners, for intermediate, for industry professionals. If you are a beginner, it's no shame in not being able to edit that great or not being able to shoot that great or not being able to talk that great on camera, because it's somebody else who also values that exact same perspective because that's where they are and they understand it. If you are a beginner and you aren't experienced in editing, or even if you are experienced in editing, the sponsor of today's video will help you out a ton. Storyblocks is an online library with millions of different assets like stock video, stock audio, motion templates, motion titles, and they even have more than that. The great thing about Storyblocks is that their templates are compatible with pretty much all of the major editing platforms like Adobe Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects, Final Cut Pro 10, and even DaVinci Resolve. They have a handful of different subscriptions to fit pretty much whatever price point that you can afford. But if you got it, I recommend you checking out the unlimited plan because you can download and use as many of these assets for whatever you like, whenever you like. For anybody interested, there's gonna be a link down in the description below for you guys to check out Storyblocks. And you can see they're just helping me get my point across. In the YouTube realm, gear is the flashy thing to talk about. New cameras, new lenses, new lights, new microphones, everything to make your image look as crispy as possible. So when you're on camera, people can see you in the clearest possible resolution. All of these things are great and they are important, but this thing right here is probably more, like way more important than this. Like this is at the end of the funnel of creating content. If you get this wrong, none of this other stuff matters. You need to focus on packaging as a new creator. I see so many people who obsess over all of these little things like the lighting needs to be perfect, the video needs to be super crispy, and then they put little to no effort in the thumbnail and the title for the video. And if your purpose is to grow, you have literally shot yourself in the foot. This is like going to the gym for like an hour, right? And burning off 300 calories and then leaving the gym and going to eat 8 donuts and a bowl of ice cream. It's counterintuitive. You're doing a lot for no reason because you're not doing what you need to do on the back end. I encourage anybody who wants to get into YouTube to study packaging, study thumbnails, study what thumbnails work for creators, study what thumbnails don't work for creators, study why thumbnails work, study why thumbnails don't work, study titles, figure out how to make an intriguing title for what you're making, figure out how to craft your title into different moods. Maybe you need sadness, maybe you need intrigue, maybe you need confusion, maybe you need a payoff type of title. These are all things that you need to know as an upcoming creator, because if you put hours into a video and nobody clicks on it and your goal is to grow, it was all for nothing. Now I know that this is extremely intimidating for people who have no background in design, but it's so many different resources online right now that allow you to create thumbnail templates. It's endless tutorials and resources on YouTube alone for how to use programs like Photoshop. You can even go on Fiverr and get a designer to design you a nice clickable thumbnail for $5. Not to dismiss storytelling, not to dismiss the quality of your videos, not to dismiss the quality of your audio. All of these things are important, don't get me wrong, but if your goal is to grow, you need to put the time into learning packaging. Ultimately, I think that this is one of the biggest reasons why some new creators are excelling and some new creators are just not getting it. That's it. Like the video. I'm out. Peace.